Hi, it's been another week, so it's time for another Devlog update. I guess I'm going to keep doing these. It seems to be more fun than writing updates. So, take two. So in the last video, I talked about converting everything from the first pass version of the game to the second pass version of the game. Mostly those are changes to the level design and sort of the quality of the levels that we're building. And we're starting with the first 10 levels, which we're going to polish up and release as a demo. So that process, in terms of level design at least, is pretty close to complete. I have one more level, which hopefully I'll finish later tonight. I slept in really late, so it'll probably be a late night, and I'm hoping I can finish that last level. And then we're doing a third pass, which is going to be all art related. We're not really going to change the level layout unless something really proves necessary to accommodate the art. But that third pass, once that's finished, we'll release the first 10 levels as a demo, and then continue from there. So yeah, I made some bullet points here so that I don't get too disorganized, so I might refer to that occasionally. So yeah, I built another 6 or so levels up to that second pass quality standard since the last time we recorded something. And then yeah, I'm going to show you just one mechanic from the game and what that looked like in the first pass version versus what it looks like in the current version. So let's see. It's called the ectomatter mechanic. So this is the first pass version of the game. You can tell by the kind of blocky, unrealistic environments. Not that any of them are that realistic, but that's the old style. All right. So in the game, you're this creature, the outlier. You require ectoplasm to fly around. And there are these clusters of ectomatter. So you can touch those, and when you touch them, it opens these rifts of ectoplasm. So that's another power source for you. And then they also connect sometimes to these central nodes. So there's this node, and then it's sending tentacles out, and those are touching ectoclusters at the end. And the flood mechanic in the game, so there's this layer of ectoplasm at the bottom of all the levels, and when you activate all of the tentacle touched ectomatter, it causes that layer to rise up. And so that has different effects on the environment depending on what level you're in, but a lot of the game is kind of about that central mechanic. And so in pass 1, you can see it's pretty abstract looking. I mean, this is just a sphere, and they don't really change. These tentacles don't change at all to indicate whether or not the cluster's activated or anything like that. So it's a little complicated to read when you enter an environment with this many nodes on the screen. It's not immediately clear what you should be doing, and some players got lost. Maybe not in this level specifically, but some of the later levels are a little more complicated, and there are puzzles specifically related to the order of in which you activate these, and trying to activate certain clusters and not other clusters, and that sort of thing. Going into the second pass, it was clear that we needed to make these read a little more clearly. So I will show you what that looks like currently, and you can decide whether it works. So in the current just debug version of the game, I have the cursor keys bound to jumping between levels. So you might have seen me do that in the last video. I can't remember if I did or not, but if the game suddenly locks up, it's not frozen, it's just loading the next level. Actually, and I think this level has nodes in it, but it's not the equivalent to the level that I was just showing you, so I shouldn't have jumped around. Okay, here we go. So I wanted to show you this level specifically because it corresponds to the one in the video, or the the one that I was just showing you. So it'll show not only are is the art improved for those ecto rifts, but the levels are a lot bigger and more adventurous, and just kind of wanted to show that. Okay, so here is the equivalent. This pupa thing is the node, and then we have the ecto danglers, which haven't really changed. But you can see that the cords connecting them, or the tentacles, are gray and sort of low opacity, and this is really subdued looking. The hope there is that people will see this and they'll notice it, but it won't look lit up until you engage it. So if I touch this dangler, and there's we added a cooler effect for the rift, and then also this thing starts to glow, the tentacle glows. So at a glance, if you're just moving through the environment, you can kind of read which connections are already active and which still need to be activated. And once you activate both of them, the flood rises up a little. Let's see. I'm just going to play through this level so you can sort of get a sense of what the scope of these spaces is starting to look like, and maybe you'll want to play it. I'll do it quickly, but obviously for someone that hasn't played these levels before, each step along the way is a little more of a puzzle, probably a little more rewarding to figure out. Oops, oh, and I failed. So actually this is something to point out. The more in this case there's one dangler above, and there's a few of these pupa nodes attached to it. So the more of those that are attached, the more dramatically the flood will rise. So in certain cases there's much more explosive flooding. In other cases it's a more gradual process as you activate one node at a time. And I think that's probably good for this video. I don't want to spoil the whole level, but you get a sense of how it's changed between Pass 1 and Pass 2. And then what Pass 3 is going to be about, Michael, my roommate who does a lot of the art for this, is retopologizing a lot of the models that he made for this last pass, and sort of improving the mesh, or the meshes for those characters and creatures, so that they can be better animated. And then we're gonna see if our other friend Nick Huck will take on the task of animating some of those to really enliven the world. And we're also going to add in a lot of ambient life. Right now, pretty much all of the characters and creatures in the game are just mechanical necessities. Like they all correspond to gameplay mechanics. But we want to add in stuff that's just there, living its life in the world. For example, I'll show you some placeholder artwork. This is what I do. I'm not a 3D artist, so I just smash primitives together and then apply scripts to make them hop around. But eventually, when we replace my artwork with Michael and Nick's art, this kind of stuff will hopefully add a lot of character to the world. And yeah, so that's what we're hoping to get all of that sort of ready for Pass 3, and then we'll send out we'll make a demo that's publicly available to everyone. Some of you I have promised Steam keys to already, and you guys you're going to get a version of the game that's probably sooner than later. Like as soon as I finish Pass 2 here, I'll send something out to you, and I would appreciate feedback on that, to sort of determine, we can soften some of the rough edges before I allow everyone to play this. And if you are interested in getting a Steam key and I haven't talked to you, send me a message and I can hopefully generate enough of those to satisfy however many people will contact me. Yeah, that's it. That's I don't know, maybe hopefully a shorter update than last week, but that's where we're at. And hopefully this time next week I'll be showing you the finished version of Pass 2 and whatever content we've created for Pass 3. All right, have a good day.